Today we're going to continue with our look at LNAT reading and how to approach these questions. And it's the turn of a rather tricky type of question, and that is those questions which ask you what a part of a text might imply. But first, let's just quickly gloss the meaning of this word. So without doing anything too fancy, we might quickly see that imply has two fundamental uses, a formal use and a more informal one. The formal use is really the concern of philosophers and logicians and concerns logical necessity and entailment, such as if I were to say I have 2 children, that implies I have 1 child, simply because the number 2 includes within its meaning all lower numbers, in this case 1. That obviously has no use to us here, but the second use is, or has, and that is what is usually taken to mean just plain suggests, or leads us to believe that. This is the use that we'll be looking at and for in our LNAT questions, something that gives us reason to believe what is stated in the question, albeit a rather loose relationship. So we may have to make a few minor assumptions, and there may be some cultural baggage in there too that the LNAT question writer is assuming to be common or background knowledge for the candidate. So without further ado, let's have a look at the text that we will be working from to help us engage with this question type. As usual, pause the presentation here to give you time to look through this text on helicopter parents. Okay, and here is the question that we'll look at first. I've emboldened the keywords to make it easier for you to see. The question asks us to find the paragraph that implies but does not state a particular state of affairs. We can be sure that if the passage did indeed state that helicopter parents are financially well off, then it wouldn't be implying it. The fact that the question overstates that something will be implied and that thing will not be stated in the text might alert us to the fact that somewhere in the text there will be a statement that helicopter parents are financially well off, and so this state of affairs will not be implied at all. Thus we will need to be on our guard for such a distractor from the off. Okay, let's look through the first paragraph and pause the presentation here to give you time to scan through once more. Well, from our quick scan we can see that there is a reference to helicopter parents, and there is a statement that they are high earning and high achieving, and they're giving their children every luxury imaginable, and belonging to an affluent social class and earning way above the national average in terms of annual income. However, all this information about the financial status of the helicopter parents is no suggestion at all. It's just plain statement in black and white in the text. And a statement does not qualify as an implication. It can't be A, for the simple reason that, as we've just seen, the passage states and thus doesn't imply. In the second paragraph, there is reference to financial remuneration, but it's with regards to the starting salaries for the children of the helicopter parents, and not with reference to the parents' own financial position. And aside from that, there's no reference, so B is out. So let's check on C. Well, here we appear to have something, and it would be part of background knowledge that Cheltenham Ladies College belongs to that exclusive set of fee-paying educational institutions that also includes Eton, Harrow, Rugby, Charterhouse, Rodine, etc. But aside from that, at the bottom of the paragraph we can see reference to the £24,500 boarding fees, a very substantial annual expense at the time of this test paper. And as we can be sure that no one is going to be paying this aside from the parents of the student, this suggests or implies, but does not state, a very healthy financial position indeed. So at the moment C is looking to be our best answer, and let's just have a quick check with D. And as expected, there's no reference to finances or monetary expenses here at all. So C is our answer. Okay, if we're getting the hang of what it is for something to be implied for the purposes of LNAT reading questions, let's have a quick look at one more using the same text and the last paragraph that we looked at. Remember that we're looking for something that asks us to make the leap from what has gone before, so the correct answer will not be boldly stated in the text. Here is the text once more for you to read through with the last sentence highlighted. This last sentence is taking the form of what looks like a bit of rhetoric acting as the final premise in an argument. So what we get is a few reasons leading to these teachers perhaps get the helicopter parents they deserve. And now what we need is the final step that acts as a conclusion from what has gone before. Let's look back through the options once more. Well, we just said that we're approaching the end of a line of reasoning here, but nothing in the paragraph above this final sentence contains a reference to freedom for children or children being better off at boarding school. So that's those two out of the picture. But also legal responsibility is only mentioned with regards to truanting. So that's that one out of the picture too. Now the paragraph gives examples where parents are directly involved in actions whose responsibility they delegate to the school. The teacher's unwillingness to accept the responsibility naturally leads to more parental involvement, and thus we get the helicopter phenomenon as a direct result of the teacher not taking the responsibility on board. The text doesn't state this, but the reference duties that the parent expects the school to take on board suggests that D is at the heart of the problem, and not that the problem will go away if the parents are not contacted. So the reference in the paragraph leading to the statement that teachers possibly get the helicopter parents they deserve implies that if the teachers just chatted with the students' parents, would be less likely to be continually involved. That is a reasonable implication that follows from the text above, but which is not stated directly.